day to each and everyone. My name is Rosagine D. Nonoy. I am reporting the land covered by the Agrarian Reform Law and its exclusion. But first, let me read the objective. The objective is, at the end of this topic, you will be able to identify the land covered by the agrarian, to know why ancestral lands are considered as exemption from the coverage of the agrarian reform. Agrarian reform means redistribution of lands regardless of crops or fruits produced to farmers and regular farm workers who are landless, irrespective of tenurial agreement, to include the totality of factors and support services designed to lift the economic status of the beneficiaries and all other agreements alternative to the physical redistribution of lands such as production of profit sharing, labor, administration, and the distribution of shares of stocks, which will allow beneficiaries to receive a just share of the fruits of the lands they work. The Comprehensive Agrarian Reform Law generally covers all public and private agricultural lands, including other lands of the public domain sustainable for agriculture. So there are bases of the lands that is covered by the Agrarian Reform Law, which is all alienable and disposable lands of the public domain devoted to or sustainable for agriculture. Next is all land of the public domain is exceeds of the specific limit as determined by Congress in the preceding paragraph. All other lands owned by the government devoted to a sustainable for agriculture. All private lands devoted to a sustainable for agriculture, regardless of the agricultural products raised or that can be raised thereon. Agrarian reform means redistribution of lands, but it doesn't mean that it distributes lands. All lands are covered by this law. No. There are considered lands that is not under the Agrarian Reform Law, which are private lands with a total area of 5 hectares and below, lands actually directly and exclusively used and found to be necessary for parks, wildfires, forest reserves, reforestation, fish sanctuaries, and breeding grounds, watersheds, and mangroves. Private lands actually direct and exclusively used for brown lands actually directly and exclusively used and found to be necessary national defense, school sites, and campuses, including experimental farm station operated by public or private schools for educational purposes, seeds and seedlings research and pilot production centers, and many more. The next topic was ancestral lands defined as exemption jurisdiction to exempt property. Ancestral lands refers to the land of the indigenous cultural community that includes but not be limited to lands is the actual, continuous, and open possessions and occupation of the community and its member. Ancestral lands are considered as exemption from the coverage of the Agrarian Reform Program because it respects and recognizes the system of the land ownership, land use, and mood of the settings that dispute of all indigenous cultural communities in line with the principle of self-determination and autonomy. That's all. Thank you for listening.